Hello, welcome to the morning news. Our top story today is in Burundi, where the army chief announced that the coup attempt had failed. Celebrations after the announcement that the president had been sacked quickly turned into angry protests, riots, and eventually into violence, accompanied by heavy gunfire. Army Chief of Staff General Prime Niyongabo announced on state radio that forces loyal to the president Pierre Nkurunziza were in control. The military appeared to be divided according to local reports. In Tanzania, Eastern Africa leaders condemned the coup attempt but agreed that conditions for elections were not in place.
Conditions at the moment are not conducive for elections to be held as scheduled by the National Electoral Commission.
Ecuadorian President Rafael Correa revealed that his government hosted preliminary negotiations with Colombia's second-biggest leftist rebel group ELN and representatives of that country. The president did not disclose where and when the preliminary talks took place, but said that Ecuador remained willing to mediate in further negotiations and assist again if required.
At this time, I suppose that the process with the ELN will continue. We all hope that it continues like with the FARC and that a happy ending is reached. But if they need Ecuador to provide a space for talks, then obviously we're available to Colombia.
Rescue workers were trying to reach at least 17 miners trapped underground in a gold mine in northwestern Colombia after it suddenly flooded. The rescue workers and miners struggled for hours using hoses to drain the mine of the flood waters as the families of the missing waited for news. Hope that they will be rescued alive lessons, as survivors say they barely made it out of the mine alive.
I survived because it wasn't my day, brother. Because I was the last survivor to come out. My friend didn't make it because when the mine's filled up, it fills with gas, and the gas drugs you.
And now to Honduras, where protests are increasing. Thousands are rallied to demand President Juan Orlando Hernandez's resignation. Our correspondent Gerardo Torres was there.
The Honduran Libre Party has called for a demonstration in front of the National Congress after the local media reported that the Social Security Institute had written checks to the ruling National Party for more than $100 million. This comes on top of last year a commission proved that under former President Porfirio Lobo, the institute was invested by its directors for more than $350 million.
We show our solidarity to men and women that are looking for health in many places. But we also want to say to the National Party and to President Juan Orlando, don't be fooled. The people will not go down without a fight, and we are ready to go out to the streets. We're ready to face them.
The Honduran Social Security Institute is in crisis with no medicine and more than 40% of the scheduled operations delayed due to the lack of equipment. Former President Manuel Zelaya, leader of the political opposition, called for permanent actions demanding the resignation of President Juan Orlando Hernandez, who hasn't been able to discredit the checks presented as proof and that many point out were used in his presidential campaign in 2013.
Long live the people of Honduras! Let's go demonstrate in every city in Honduras until we take down this government that is unworthy and doesn't represent the people of Honduras.
Several protests are expected for this week, and the pressure against the government will increase with more proof starting to appear that links the National Party with one of the most scandalous corruption cases in the history of Honduras. Gerardo Torres, Telesur, Central America.
And now to Mexico for the latest development in the case of the 43 enforced disappearances of Ayotzinapa students. The National Institute of Information and Transparency has ordered the Attorney General's office to publicly reveal the complete file on the investigation of the missing students. It has also instructed them to include the interrogations of the 36 military personnel regarding the case that drew international attention to the crisis of disappearances in Mexico, as well as to the grave human rights situation in the country. The remains of only one of the students have been found after 7.5 months of investigations. Hundreds took to the streets of Madison, Wisconsin Wednesday to protest against no-charge ruling regarding the killing by police of an unarmed black teenager, Tony Robinson. Protesters are angry about the decision as police officer Matt Kenny is suspended but with payment. The rally lasted for almost a whole day, interrupting traffic several times. More than 20 were arrested, including a pregnant woman. Most were later released.
Well, the decision is unjust. You have a guy who brutally assassinated one of our children without impunity. Someone murdered one of the children in our community, and they are getting off without consequences.
The United States government was criticized for its human rights standards after the country's compliance with the international human rights standards were assessed by the UN Human Rights Council on Tuesday. The international body condemned U.S. for police violence, racial discrimination, torture, use of the death penalty, and illegal Guantanamo Bay prison, among other issues. The Vatican has officially recognized the state of Palestine in a new treaty between a bilateral commission. In the text of the agreement, the Vatican modified its diplomatic position by referring to the state of Palestine. Spokesperson Federico Lombardi said the change marks an official diplomatic recognition. The Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas and Pope Francis are scheduled to meet this Saturday in Rome. We go now to our correspondent in Gaza, Noor Harazian, for a report on a film festival in war.
Right now we are at the Shija'iyya district. This district, as you can see behind me, was severely affected during Israel's ground invasion on the Gaza Strip in July-August 2014. And also, as you can see behind me, there is an event being held here between the destroyed homes. It's Gaza's Human Rights Film Festival, and it's the first film festival in the Gaza Strip. The organizers named it the Red Carpet, and they named it the Red Carpet as a symbol of the blood that was spilled here in this neighborhood last summer.
Thank you, Noor. The European Union and NATO representatives have met to discuss Ukraine on the EU's proposal for a military mission against migrant smugglers. The EU is intending to adopt more aggressive and military measures to face a humanitarian crisis, which in the end is more than likely their responsibility. NATO and EU will also discuss what they claim to be threats to their alliances, but are only political and economical challenges posed by countries such as Russia and China.
In this more dangerous security environment, NATO will continue to protect and defend each ally against any threat. That is why we are adapting our alliance to a new environment and implementing the greatest reinforcement of our collective defense since the end of the Cold War.
U.S. President Barack Obama held talks with the leaders of the Gulf Cooperation Council nations at a White House dinner on Wednesday. The U.S. Arab allies and Obama will hold more formal talks today. President Obama has tried to downplay differences between Washington and Gulf nations in face of the imminent nuclear deal with Iran. The meeting will also center on the instability in Yemen and the ambitions of Iran to exert influence in the Middle East. The Italian football club Juventus has made it to the Champions League final, where it will face off against Barcelona June 6 in Berlin. Juventus fans celebrated in Madrid as their team defeated their host 3-2 on aggregate. For a moment there, Real almost made it to Berlin when Cristiano Ronaldo netted the 23rd minute penalty. But Juventus striker Alvaro Morata stunned at the Madrid stadium when he rifled a shot into the roof of the net of goalkeeper Iker Casillas. More on these on our website, telesurtv.net/English. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.